Alright fam, so today I am here to bring you the History of Your Bookshelves tag? I think that's what it's called. I didn't write it down. I haven't pre-picked my answers for these questions, so editing me is gonna hate myself because I'm gonna have to go over there and get them. So anyway, the first question is your oldest book, which I think I know what that is. So I'm pretty sure it's this copy of White Fang that I've had since like the 5th grade? I don't know. I don't know when I got this. I think I got it at a book fair. I'm pretty sure I got it at a book fair. And those were like a thing in elementary school. So like I feel like I got it in elementary school. So anyway, I'm pretty sure this is the oldest book that I have. Next is a book you read in 2013. A book I read in 2013 was Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I still have my bookmark in here, actually. What do I have it bookmarked? Do I have bookmarked? Nothing. I don't have anything good bookmarked. But this was this is the original bookmark I made for reading it, cause I'm a nerd. So I thought I'd show you guys that, cause I don't think I've shown you guys that before. It's just, oh, I have it. It's not nothing. I just have it at the end of Oreste's fasting and Pylades drunk. Which, if you know, you know. Not going to explain it because that would take far too long. Next is a book you read in 2014, and since I was already over there and I knew what I was going to pick, I went ahead and picked up The Song of Achilles. This is the copy that I read in 2014. I didn't pick up any of my other copies because this is the one I read in 2014, so it seemed like I should pick this one up. Next is a book you read in 2015. The Lightning Thief was too hard to get out. So I went with The Lost Hero because I also read this in 2015 because I read like all of the Percy Jackson books in 2015. Next is a book you read in 2016. Now, don't quote me on this, but I think that I read The Raven Boys in 2016. At least like the very end of 2016. You feel me? Because I specifically remember reading it at the end of the year, and I'm pretty sure it was 2017 when I finished it, so that would mean I read The Raven Boys in 2016. Next is 2017, and for that I have picked out this Magnus Chasing of Gods of Asgard, The Ship of the Dead, because I went to the book tour for this. I had to check and make sure it was 2017, but it was, in fact, 2017. I could show you the page, but I'm not going to. So yeah, I went to the book tour. I got a cool shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts still, honestly. And yeah, it's also signed. I will show you that. It's signed. See? The next is a book that you read in 2018. I have a lot of options for this because I started my booktube channel in 2018. So, like, lots of my books are from 2018. But I went with The Foxhole Court. I mean, this is like probably my favorite series, so how can I not mention it? Especially since I read it in 2018, so, you know. And finally, we have a book you read in 2019. I didn't know which book to pick because I read a lot of books in 2019 and I liked basically all of them. But I went with one that I read towards the end of the year, and that's on my favorite shelf, and that is Tarnished Are the Stars by Rosie Thor. So, yeah, I read this book. It was one of my favorite books of 2019. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's just really good. Next is a book that you read more than once, and I'm trying not to do repeats, so I'm going with Six of Crows. Now, I haven't read this copy specifically twice, so I hope that's not what the question is asking. I actually borrowed Six of Crows from a friend when I read it originally, and then I bought the collector's edition for myself, and then read that. Next is a book you've waited over a year to be published, and for that, going with Circe by Madeline Miller. So I read The Song of Achilles, like I said, in 2014. This wasn't released until 2018. I don't remember when this book was actually announced. I just remember waiting for 4 years for Madeline Miller to release another book. So, counts for the question, doesn't it? Next is a book you read on vacation / away from home. Now, again, this exact copy I did not read away from home. But I did read this edition of the Iliad on a plane to London, and then in London. Well, no, I left it on the plane, then I bought a new copy in London, but then I lent that copy to a friend and I've never gotten it back. So we're just gonna go with this. I read this on the plane to London, so that is technically away from home. It wasn't a vacation. I didn't go to London on vacation. I went on a study abroad trip. But yeah, I read it away from home, so it counts, in theory, because this isn't the actual book that I read. But I read this edition of it. I read this translation of it. It should count. Next is a book you bought somewhere special. Bought Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me at my local independent bookstore. Next is a book that made you cry. And for that, I'm gonna go with fucking Crooked Kingdom, man. Crooked Kingdom got me the first time, and it got me the second time. If you know, like I said, if you know, you know. And if you don't, I'm not going to tell you because it's a really big spoiler, and I don't want to spoil things in these videos. But Crooked Kingdom, I'm probably always going to cry when I read this book. Next is a book that you read in one sitting. I'm going to cheat on this and go with Fence Volume 1. It's really skinny, and it's a graphic novel, so of course I read it in one sitting. The next one is a gift, and like I said, I'm not trying not to do repeats or I just would have held up Fence again. But let's see. Literally just finished this today, but Wolf Song was a gift. I got it from my dad for Christmas last year. And it is the gayest book he could have bought me off of my Amazon wish list, let me tell you that. Next is a book that I read before owning, so like from the library or something. And I read The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue from the library, and then someone was kind enough to buy me it off of my Amazon wish list during Christmas, and I was like, oh bless, now I own it. Next is a book that you lent out. So, I know I said I wasn't going to do repeats, but I'm probably going to use this for the next question too. But The Silence of the Girls. So, I lent this out to a friend who was he was Laertes in Hamlet. And I was like, hey, you should totally read this book. It's really good. And he was like, oh, okay. I don't think he finished it. And then name a book that's damaged. This one isn't super damaged, but the Dusk Jacket is really, like, worn and kind of bent. And then, like, yeah, you can see it. You can see it here, too. This is why I don't lend out my books. So yeah, it's not damaged. I don't have a book that's damaged. But yeah, it's definitely not in pristine condition like it was when I had it. Next is a book you got on sale. The price tag is still on this. And I don't know if it's technically legal, but the library sold me this. Arc of Fire and Stars. I love how it says not for sale on it, and I actually bought it for $1 whole. I haven't read it yet, but I keep meaning to. Next is a book you read with somebody else, so like a buddy read type situation. And I buddy read What If It's Us with Graham over at The Archive. Because that's his new channel name, so I'm gonna start actually including that in the videos. But yes, so I read this with him. That's like what really sparked our friendship, I would say. And yeah, it was great. I had a great time doing it. And I think we both enjoyed the book, so you know, there's that. Next is a book you associate with a specific song. I'm kind of cheating with this one, but I'm gonna say The King's Men. And I'm going to say the song that I associate with it is How Far We've Come by Matchbox 20, I believe is the artist. I associate that song with the All for the Game series in general, but like if I want to get specific, I associate it with the King's Men, so that answers that question. And the next is a song that you associate with a food. And again, this is low-key cheating because I've already used a book in the series, but Magnus Chase and the Hammer of Thor I associate with falafel. Because you know, Magnus loves some falafel. Don't ask me why I picked this specific one. It was between this and the Sword of Summer, and I picked this one. Probably because Alex is introduced in this one. But yeah, so falafel, y'all. And falafel, I've learned, I've tried it now, and it's pretty good. Magnus wasn't lying. It's pretty good, and I'm a picky eater, y'all, so that's impressive. The next one is a book that you wouldn't buy now. Let me look, because I unhauled a lot of my books that I didn't want, so I might not have any of these. Okay, I found one. So I'm not a big nonfiction person now, and I don't care about dogs as much as I used to, so I probably wouldn't buy this book now, but it's a really good book, and like, I don't know, y'all. If you like dogs and you want to learn what happened to Michael Vick's pit bulls, read this book. It's very sad. Next is a book that reminds you of a specific time in your life. Now, I know I said we weren't going to do repeats. I keep saying that. And there's no way to cheat on this. So we're just going to have to bite the bullet and do a repeat, okay? But we're not using the same book. We're using a different copy of that book. It's The Song of Achilles. So, The Song of Achilles reminds me of a very, not necessarily a very dark time in my life, because it wasn't that dark, but like, my mental health was not good. It was not good at all. And so, I found this gay book everybody was talking about on Tumblr, and I started reading it. And so I was like, wow, this is good. I should start reading more. And we all know the story. If you've been around for long enough, you definitely know the story. That's basically the story, honestly. Next is a book that you used to like, but you no longer like. And this is hard, because, like, I gave away most of the books that I didn't like. Like, a John Green book would be perfect for this question, but I gave away all of my John Green books. So, I'm going with my controversial opinion. I wouldn't say that I necessarily don't like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I wouldn't say this is just for the general Harry Potter series, like, overall. It's not necessarily just the Prisoner of Azkaban. But yeah, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, so it says used to like, but I'm gonna say used to love. Because I used to love Harry Potter, and now I just kinda like it. And finally is the newest book on your shelf. Okay, the newest book that I got is The Midnight Lie, because I just got this in the March Unplugged book box. Duh. Okay, so yeah, I got this in the March Unplugged book box, so it's definitely my most recent book on my bookshelf, because literally I got it probably not even a week ago. Or maybe it was more than a week ago. I don't know. Time is weird. Okay, so the raw footage of this ended up being 31 minutes without my outro. So I just want y'all to appreciate what I go through in editing for y'all. And then captioning, because who knows how long this video is going to end up. But anyway, that's the end of this challenge. Oh, I forgot to say who tagged me. I was tagged by the lovely Kaz over at Cats and Camera. I will leave a link to her channel in the description down below. I will also leave the creator of this tag in the description down below. I can't remember who they are off the top of my head, but I will do some research and put it in the description. And then, to tag some people, gonna tag Graham over at the archive, I guess. So Brody over at E2 Brody. Gonna tag them, and that's all I'm gonna tag. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.